Hey guys, it's Feedback Friday. Should I do the song, Momo? Yeah, let's do the song. The feedbackiest day of the week. There we go. Yes, Momo is with me. Momo knows I've had a bad day today, and so Momo is cuddling because Momo loves love and giving love, and I learn a lot from Momo. Right, Momo? Yeah. Momo's my cat, for those of you who don't know. No surprise, this video on the Sarkeesian binary and imposter syndrome was the most watched video this week. It becomes a bit of an issue whenever I put out one of these videos because it um, kills the traffic on most of the other videos anywhere near it. But hey, it's good. People want to watch it. The comments, however, perplexed me some. And in this case, I don't think it's any ill will on anyone's part. I think we just have a lot more learning to do regarding various perspectives and the entire concept of harassment and defamation and things like that. And you'll see there are 22 dislikes, which, I mean, okay, isn't that high. I recognize that. A ratio of 165 likes to 22 dislikes is a good ratio. But that's high for this channel. People watching this channel are usually very, very good at handling dissenting opinions, and as long as something is well argued, they don't hit the dislike button even if they disagree. But I always expect a high, for me, number of dislikes whenever something involves Anita Sarkeesian. And I was prepared for it this time around because I took the radical step of asserting Sarkeesian's personhood, heaven forbid, and talked about the potential pitfalls of calling her a liar and the comments about that and the definition of harassment I use seem to be the biggest points of complaint. There were a lot of comments, as you see, a lot of comments. Most of them were very, very respectful, even when they disagreed. I appreciate that. Some people said that it actually made them think. Unfortunately, every so often I got something like this. I don't think you would know the definition of harassment if someone smacked you upside the head with a dictionary, and neither would Sarkeesian. If it's a pattern of unwanted behavior after you've told someone to stop, emphasis on pattern, that fits the definition of harassment. Indeed, you've characterized anyone who's ever leveled any kind of legitimate criticism at Sarkeesian using the exact same justification she uses in her attempts to silence them. Well, sir, this is from the legal dictionary. Harassment, the act of systemic or continued unwanted and annoying actions of one party or a group, including threats or demands. Let's look back to what I said. Pattern of unwanted behavior after you've told someone to stop. Emphasis on pattern. So, I guess the dictionaries hit me upside the head. Now, getting to this liar stuff, this is a more complicated situation. For those of you who don't know, I live in Canada, and Canada's laws are different. Citizens are entitled to make fair comment on matters of public interest without fear of defamation claims. A good example of this is a letter to the editor on a matter of public concern. The author of the remarks may even go so far as to presume motives on the part of the person whose actions are being criticized, provided only that the imputation of motives is reasonable under the circumstances. The rule of thumb is that the fair comment must reflect an honestly held opinion based on proven fact and not motivated by malice. It should be noted, however, that some provinces have enacted laws that give their citizens varying rights to fair comment. Now, this was an actual libel case recently, last year, and the libel was a serial liar, a bigot, and a Jew-hating illiberal Islamic fascist bent on destroying Canada's tradition of free expression. Now, This is all of these things are relevant to the case, but you notice serial liar was up there. A court found, guys, that calling someone a serial liar could be defamatory if, check this out, motivated by ill will. And this is where we have to be very, very, very careful. Okay, extremely careful, because Anita Sarkeesian inspires some strong feelings. People legit don't like her, and that's fine. But you have to be exceptionally careful about whether the accusation you're leveling against her is because you actually believe it's in the public good or you just don't like her. The motivation for criticizing a public figure should be in the public good. And I feel very strongly about this, especially today, because it's not just Anita Sarkeesian that gets these comments. It's every person who makes a video on the internet that does even remotely well. And this brings us to the news we got today. Today is Thursday. These videos run Friday. You know, the fact that popular YouTuber Total Biscuit is not cancer-free. And people asked me to talk about this. I was hesitant to talk about this, but the more I thought about it, the more it's like there is something I can say on this in the context of that segment. When Total Biscuit was going through his first round of treatment, there was a video game awards show where he was in competition, and I don't even know if they applied for this. It might have been a fan vote, who knows, but his fans and Sarkeesian's fans were both trying to support their people, and Sarkeesian's fans lost. Total Biscuit won the award. Well, these people piled on him, didn't care that he was undergoing cancer treatment, didn't care that the guy was in a fight for his life, literally. And when it was pointed out that the guy has cancer, they said things, well, it's a very treatable form of cancer. Wow. Here we are. I absolutely do not want to be seen as sensationalizing this. I'm not even sure I'm going to monetize this video because I'm talking about this. Probably won't, because this is somebody's life we're talking about. So here's what I'm referring to. I did my best to authenticate this, although I have no direct access to TB or Jenna. I don't know them. I've never met them. I think I've exchanged 4 tweets between both of them. I've never been on their show. I've never even been contacted to be on their show. I have no stake in this, okay? But, you know, average life expectancy is 2 to 3 years. That's the big thing here. And it really, really made me feel stronger than ever that there is no place for personal attacks when we are debating issues for the greater good. And if you're not debating issues for the greater good, I have no interest in debating you. Okay? If you're just trying to grandstand, if you're just trying to up your YouTube traffic, if you're just trying to call attention to yourself, or if you're actively trying to destroy another person's career, I have no time for you. There is no point in that. It is a race to the bottom. So I don't Biscuit. I don't care if it's Anita Sarkeesian. I don't care if it's Lacey Green, Zoe Quinn, Brianna Wu, Ben Kuchera, Stephen Totillo over at Kotaku, Nathan Grayson, any of these people that for whatever reasons people have decided they don't like. You know, PewDiePie. There are plenty of other YouTubers. The people who hate on Boogie and insult his weight. You know, it's all nonsense. It is all nonsense. It is not fair comment the way people carry on. Just because you're allowed to get away with it doesn't mean you should do it. And what I am talking about When I talk about don't call people liars, say the information is false, say their information is based on lies, because hey, they could have repeated it from someone else. You don't know where they got their information. But you have to be so careful for so many reasons when you actually go out and say you are a liar. Because I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, you're saying it out of emotion and it is malicious. And I'm not saying you necessarily need absolute proof, okay? Absolute proof that someone is a liar. Life's not that simple. I understand that. But you have to be saying they are a liar in the public good, meaning you are trying to stop something bad from happening. And I understand that some people believe very strongly when it comes to Anita Sarkeesian that she is impacting video games for the worse. I get that. And I understand the argument that, quote unquote, proving she is a liar is in the greater good that way. There is some merit to that argument. However, the way it is being packaged all in with the threats and the legitimate harassment that she's getting. And some people in the comments denied that Anita Sarkeesian has been legitimately harassed, and that is just not true. Notice I am not calling these people a liar. I am saying it is not true. I have seen firsthand utterly horrible things sent to her. I know based on third parties that people are sending her threats and signing other people's names to those threats. She is being legitimately harassed. There is no denying that. Got it? This idea, and there was a lot of this in the comments. I'm not going to go back because I don't want to embarrass anyone in the comments except that one guy because he was an idiot. People played fair with their discussion of this topic, and so I appreciate that, and I don't want to hold anybody up for public, wow, what a jerk, or I don't want to do that because I think most people debated in good faith on this issue, and that's important. Somebody telling me the metaphor of me being hit in the head with a dictionary, no, that's not good faith. But this idea that if she'd just go away, the threats would stop, or if she'd just stop lying, the threats would stop. I have obviously studied Anita Sarkeesian's work quite closely, for those of you who know. And I'm sure you've watched the videos, because that's, despite myself, the primary reason people watch my channel. And that makes me feel really lousy because I feel like the important person in that equation is not me, it's her. But there's nothing I can do about it. And I am doing what I do when I critique Anita's work. I am doing it for the greater good. I don't, good for her that she's making money. Good for her that she has success. I have no reason to believe she's not telling her truth. And why do I say that? I think she is absolutely mistaken. But I have met so many people that hold the same views as she does that it is reasonable to assume that she is earnest in her beliefs. And she said some things that are completely whacked out there about games like Doom, about, comments, slut-shaming comments, like referring to certain characters as fighting fuck toys, which I took personal offense to because I don't think you should be calling any woman those sorts of names. And for a lot of people, these fictional characters are quite real. When you're going after paragon characters of the video game industry like Lara Croft, calling them a fuck doll or a fuck toy, to me, completely wrong-headed, completely below the belt and offensive. Okay? But Do I believe she believes these things? Yes, I do. So I'm not comfortable in calling her a liar. Is she absolutely mistaken? Yes. Is she seeing things through a warped lens? Yes. Is she using video that misrepresents the games she's depicting? Yes, absolutely. I 100% believe that. But I don't know if she's having that brought to her by a third party who goes out and logs the videos, or whether or not she is deliberately misrepresenting the video. I believe it's the former. I believe other people collect this stuff for her because she has so many appearances and she is so many different places. She's the face, as people have pointed out, of the brand. That this makes her responsible for that brand. There is an element of, yes, I agree. But there also has to be some understanding that the fact that she is the face of the brand means she is the one in demand and she can't do it all. She can't be 2 or 3 places at once. And so other people are obviously doing legwork on certain things. I don't believe she's personally playing all the games she's talking about. And that really puts it in perspective for me because I've played at least 90% of the games she criticizes. So I guess I have no life, but it makes me a better video game scholar. But I have examined her stuff and I have examined her personal statements. And to me, a lie is a deliberate act. Being mistaken or getting something wrong is one thing, but lying is a deliberate act to me, and I see no proof that she is doing that. Okay? I think she is incredibly wrong and looking at gaming as an outsider instead of as an insider who loves this stuff and has a deep emotional connection to this stuff. And I think that this makes her analysis yet less useful because she's not coming at it from a place of love like I am. And, like Total Biscuit is. Dude clearly loves video games because he's so passionate about what he likes and what he doesn't like. He obviously sincerely cares. But I just think that you can't say there's one set of rules for Total Biscuit because you like him and another set of rules for Anita Sarkeesian because you don't like her. And I'm using this paradigm just because, I enjoy Total Biscuit's work more than I agree with Anita Sarkeesian's. You can't just go, well, the gloves are off with Sarkeesian because she's a bad person. No, that's malicious. That is the definition of malicious. That is personal malice, which is harassment, guys. There's no getting around that. That's exactly what it is. And I'm not saying people who have gotten emotional and said things like this are bad people. No. I think there is still a complete lack of understanding about what drives the behaviors we see on the internet. And this is why I put myself in the line of fire to stop things I see that I think cross the line, because we have to take the personal malice out of public communications. Thanks to the internet, we are now all content creators and all broadcasters, and we have access indirectly to a massive, massive, massive audience, and you never know when that tweet you make or the Facebook post you make or the YouTube video you make will go viral. I keep hearing people say, we're nobodies, we're nobodies, we're nobodies. This flies completely in the face of the democratization of the internet and completely against the reason a lot of us are fighting for net neutrality and a free and open internet. No, the internet says no one is a nobody. Words matter, and you never know when they're going to become very high profile and very important. It happens in a blink. Trust me. 3 different articles this week referenced the series of tweets I put out about feeling like the video game industry pushed me in a locker at the whim of their prom queen, Anita Sarkeesian. I said that a year ago. And multiple places referenced it this year without even contacting me. Without contacting me before it's a year old. And they didn't reach out to me for follow-up. First of all, that's lazy as all hell. But, the New Statesman did it. I used to read the New Statesman. Am I going to read it again? No. Because they said that the comment was made by trolls. The comment was not made by trolls. The comment was made from me. I am the origin of that content. But, I was a nobody at the time. That was before I started building my YouTube channel. That was before I got hired by The Escapist. That was before I mattered. But all of a sudden, words I made on like October 30th of 2014 mattered. They ended up in places like the Frontier something. The New Statesman is the one I got mad at because they attributed the comment to trolls. And it wasn't trolls, it was me. And at the time, I was being very badly bullied by fans of Anita Sarkeesian, the exact same people who were going after Total Biscuit. And I thought it was wrong. And I thought the industry that I loved and the industry I felt previous to that accepted me was now a very lonely and scary place. And I felt unwanted by gaming. Now, I spoke out. And thanks to the people who responded, and thanks to the people who went, yeah, me too, and thanks to the dialogue that ensued, I felt like there was at least a corner of the video game industry, again, that I belonged. I was wanted there. And that sounds really stupid, maybe. It sounds really juvenile, but it matters. The one thing I've learned talking to people over the last year is it absolutely matters. And this dynamic we have right now where the hordes of one people's followers attack hordes of other people's followers, that doesn't make anybody feel wanted. That doesn't make anyone feel like their entertainment products are there to bring them joy and understanding and a distraction from their shitty life. Why the hell would anyone want to share their love of video games when they know that 500 people are going to dogpile them for a dissenting opinion? I don't care how damn offensive you may think something is. Most people are not professional speakers. They don't know what they're saying half the time. They might be drunk. They might be sleep deprived. God knows. They might have a mental health issue. And you dogpile them. Over 140 characters. Twitter's tools suck. They suck. And for Twitter to be blaming anybody else for the porousness of their service is insincere as all shit. It's buck passing. The beauty of Twitter is how open it is. The dangerous part of Twitter is how open it is. You have to be prepared. Twitter isn't even shouting into the street the way a blog is or the way Facebook is. Twitter is shouting in, what's the best example? It's like walking into a university graduation and attempting to do the speech in the middle of the ceremony, because it's geared to put a lot of eyeballs on someone based on specific topics and hashtags. And I would like to see Twitter own that. But that doesn't absolve the realities of Twitter. Don't absolve every individual person morally for their behavior. What if Anita Sarkeesian got sick tomorrow? The way we found out about Total Biscuit. I think a lot of people wouldn't even feel bad, and that strikes me. I have watched talks she has done, and she looks petrified. And as a human being, I can't help but respond to that. Okay? She's probably in a position she never expected to be in. There's probably elements of it she enjoys, elements of it that are completely overwhelming to her. The first 3 years as a public person are the hardest. I know it as someone. After that, you get used to all the horrible crud, and it becomes easier to deal with. You get that sort of mature turtle shell. It's not even a thick skin anymore. It's freaking plate mail armor. The problem is then you become an asshole and you stop listening to some people that you probably should listen to, and then you have to come back the other way and sort of limit your exposure to those people out with the knives, because you do get sliced up. You do. And there are certain things that every person has their things that bother them and they can't prevent it. From, I've had it. I've had people flat out write articles calling me a liar with no proof, with a lot of speculation, but no proof. And it gets spread, and it gets spread for months. In some cases, it gets spread for over a year. And then I've got 200 people on Twitter saying to me, why did you lie? Why did you lie? Why did you lie about this group? Why did you lie about this thing? I didn't lie. But how do you start a fucking conversation when people have already made up their minds that you're a liar? So I've had that happen to other people. I won't do that to someone else. And I'm begging the people that respect me and like my content, don't do that to someone else. Don't do that. There are other ways. There are other ways. Do not perpetuate the hurts that were inflicted upon me, because I know how it feels. I make mistakes, but I don't lie. But there are people out there who think I'm a liar, and I'm blackballed at certain services, and other services, won't take my stuff because I gave certain people a chance, who then turned around and called me a liar. And people say to me, well, why do you even bother with these people? And they don't accept when I say, well, they're still people. And maybe I'm just stupid, but I'm sorry. I'd rather be stupid and kind than this false intelligence that comes with cruelty. Being a more cruel person does not make you a more logical person. It just makes you mean and dumb instead of kind and dumb. And I'm tired of seeing these people just torn down over ideas. It's not about whether I like a person or not, or whether I respect their work. It's about the principle of us forgetting the basic humanity of another person over video games and internet fights. That is absurd to me. And it's absurd to me because I lost a friend of mine when I was 6 years old in a terrorist attack. And that has affected who I am as a person and what I believe my entire life. I have seen firsthand how hatreds grow, and they jump from thoughts to words and words to actions and actions to violence far quicker than most people believe. And the next thing you know, a 7-year-old girl, her mother and her brother are gone. And her father's asking, why did this happen? And I don't want that to happen ever again. And so I deal with the petty hatreds that form those early things before people become radicalized. And I try to offer people a place on the internet where they can come and have discussions and feel intellectually engaged and alive without going to that petty, dark, and malicious place. And I'm glad it's working. I'm glad I have a collection of a few thousand people who support me in that. I'm tired of bullies. I'm tired of the yelling. I enjoy conversation. I enjoy learning from other people, and I enjoy hearing their stories. And if you agree with me, if you want a place where we can have these great discussions and we can talk about difficult things like online harassment and gun violence and mental illness and suicide and all these things like that, and we can do it without wanting to tear each other apart, if you're with me on that, please stay around. If you're not, I don't want you here. This channel is a place of ideas and dialogue and learning and healing. God, it's about healing. I come here and I tell my story and I show these stories of other people so other people feel like they're not alone. And anybody that tries to intimidate that reality of this channel, that bubble we've got here, anybody that tries to do that, you're just not going to get anywhere with me. And I see it. There's other commenters that are picking up on this. But I'm emotional right now. I'm emotional about the Total Biscuit news. I'm emotional at seeing the slut shaming I saw this week. I'm really thrown off because I'm reminded again, you never know. You never know if you're going to have a tomorrow. So don't be an asshole today. And I see so many people taking for granted that they're going to get a tomorrow. That it just, they obviously have not lived lives and experienced people who didn't. They didn't get that 40 extra years or even 4 extra years. And my friend was 7. The only thing that's really left of her on this planet is a commemorative tree outside my old elementary school. Like, it can happen like that. And there's nothing we can do about it except treat other people better going forward. And I guess that's my message today, because I'm tired of the nonsense. I'm tired of the freaking hordes of people's true believers tearing each other apart. You want RVR combat, go find an MMO or go find a MOBA and play it there. Don't do it with real people on the internet. Like, for God's sakes, we all know the difference. And to those Sarkeesian fans out there that like to just trash me, you're hypocrites. Because you defend one woman who's had it legit rough. I will never say otherwise. But you're not just defending her anymore. You are an aggressor against other people, including Total Biscuit. I saw what you did. I saw what you said. And I will never forget that. And now you have to live with the things you said when you thought, oh, no big deal, when it came to a health issue. And that's not what I want to focus on. But I admit there's a little bit of bitterness in me about that I'm going to have to work through. But I choose to work through that. I choose to not let that consume me. And I choose to think more, the guy has a company and the guy has a wife, and God, what she must be going through right now. And I choose to focus on that instead of the hateful little people who didn't know how to be a human being when it really mattered. And that's all we can all do. So what's my takeaway? Because I try to land somewhere on this. I do these things and I fly around for 30 minutes to an hour. But then, what's the takeaway? What's the TLDR? And I guess the TLDR is just because you're free to do something doesn't mean you should do something. Everything has consequences. And I really do believe that people, that whole Wiccan thing, or I'm not sure if it's specifically Wiccan or if it's pagan, but what good you do comes back to you threefold. What ill you do comes back to you threefold. I believe in that. There's elements of that in Jewish mysticism as well. I really do believe that eventually being a good person pays off. And sometimes being a bad person pays off too, but bad people have to live with that tiny shred of themselves that recognizes they are not good people. And people who are not good people see the world as filled with bad people. Note a lot of the people on the internet that see evil around any corner. If you're a good person, you have the strength to trust. If you're a good person, you have the strength to give other people the benefit of the doubt and reach out and form connections. And pick someone up when they're having a bad day. To check in and say, are you okay? Possibly save someone's life. Because, we talked about on the Thursday video, people talked about the isolation and what that does to people and how that can twist people and take them to a really bad place. It's true. People are social creatures, even the most introverted person. requires a certain amount of socialization. We just require a lot less than an extroverted person does. But we're social creatures. And I'm arrogant enough to believe that I can be the change I want to see. And I guess that's what I'm asking people for. Be the change you want to see. Don't leave the higher ground up to someone else. Because guess what? If no one takes the higher ground, we all drown. Right? Because when that flood comes in, like it always does periodically, we're all down in the muck as opposed to being up on the high ground. Well, guess what happens? Guess what happens? There is no one there to reach down and pull other people up. So take that high ground, be that bigger person. It's not easy, but it is worthwhile. I truly believe in the video game community, in the video game industry. I believe it contains some of the best, most free-thinking, most original, most creative people in the world. I've seen that borne out time and time and time again. We are not the stigmatized reputation the mainstream media has given us. And if they don't want to see that, I don't give a damn. Because you know what? I get to be here hanging out with the cool people, and they don't. The naysayers in the mainstream media will never understand the joy of being a gamer and that camaraderie and that kinship and how you can feel a sense of connection with someone astoundingly quickly just because you enjoy the same interactive story. It's amazing. The same interactive products. It's awesome. It breaks down gender lines, political lines, religious, all those identity politics. It breaks them down. And I think that's why there's such a push to try to force those identity politics on the idea of gaming, because people who have been trained, and they have been trained, I sat in the same course as they did. They've been trained to believe that this idea of identity based on the physical is tantamount, and class overrides individuality. Well, gaming's gonna scare the shit out of people like that, because gaming is a place where I can be a human woman playing a male shaman cow person like I did in World of Warcraft. It gamifies identity, and that's great. That teaches us things about ourselves. That makes us better people. And that's what I want from gaming, and I think you do too. I think if you're listening to this and you've hung on long enough through my rambling, because I am thrown today, I think you agree with me. And I think that at least a small part of you believes that it is possible, and you still do have hope, and you still want to see the things that are good about gaming override the things that we all agree can use improvement. There'll always be improvements. And, working, I won't say fighting, but working to make things better doesn't mean you can't see the good as well. Because if you don't have the good, if you don't see the good, why bother? Why not just find something else that, is a better starting point, has a better base, Gaming's great. Gaming's the best creative industry in the world. And I say this as somebody who's worked in TV and music, and, I've done theater. I've worked in a lot of different entertainment genres. I've even done some short films. And gaming to me is, and I know there are a lot of people that disagree, but gaming has the most positives for me and the least number of negatives. And so I am absolutely going to hype those positives and try to downplay those negatives, but it is a conscious act. It's active. You can't just sit back and let the tide take you and expect to ever really get anywhere but the bottom of the ocean, right? So I guess what I'm asking you guys for is help doing that. Just let's take this spark of positivity and community and kinship and grow and be an example and be a shining example, and other people can find it because they'll see the light. They'll see that we're having civil discussions. Like I said, contentious situation. Comments are civil. Yesterday's video on gun violence and all that stuff, comments were civil. That's great. That's amazing. I didn't have to disable my comments. I cultivated my comments. I nurtured my comments. I gave some people a hard time, praised others, and got a really good group of commenters. It's possible. It's possible. You know, we don't have to live in the muck forever. So thank you for listening. Thank you for caring. And to those of you that my words resonate with, thank you for being brave enough. The coward's way out is to insult and attack and demean. The hero's way out is to see the good in people and to try to set an example so that other people can be brave and do good works too. Not just, be reliant on you and have to come to you with everything. You set that tone, you set the example, you're an inspiration. And gaming is all about people who want to be heroes. So let's do it.